Salvation is free, but it will cost you everything. And how true that tension is. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die, as Bonhoeffer said. Jesus said, "He who loves father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. Whoever would come after me, he must first deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." Yet Jesus says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Yet he is the one who promises to liberate captives from sin and the tyranny of the devil. For all of those who come to him, the Son will make you free, and you will be free indeed. John tells us that his commandments are not burdensome. And so we live with this tension that God does not require something of us that is unreasonable, and yet he requires everything at the same time. Christ is not an oppressive ruler, but he has rightful ownership over us. He has the right to demand from us what he will. Israel was God's treasured possession, and so it's fitting that he would require this small treasure from their hands. So that is the demand for atonement money. And we need to keep that fundamental principle before our eyes as we move on. And as we do, we'll see next now the reason for atonement money. Why did the Lord command such a tax upon his people? Well, if you look with me in verse 12, and then I'll show you in verse 16 as well, there's four things here going on. First of all, we need to understand in verse 12 that this price was to be paid during a census. Some of your translations may say something a little different, but the ESV has a census, literally a lifting up of the head. It's a counting of noses. We're counting people. During a census, 2, it's for atonement. You see that in verse 12. He will give a ransom for his life when they are numbered. Thirdly, it was to prevent a plague, so that there be no plague among them when you number them. Seems odd. And then fourthly, if you go down to verse 16, we find that this, towards the end of verse 16, that this, it's to count how many soldiers are in Yahweh's